Good morning. It's great to be here. Today I'm going to share an exciting story of adventure and survival with you, a concept called leadership at the edge. The presentation is based on a question that we asked ourselves at the Syncretics Group. And that question is, what are the behaviors that distinguish truly exceptional leaders and teams, especially under conditions of adversity, uncertainty, and change? The approach we took was a little different, and that was to look at stories of groups who have been pressed to the limits of human endurance, a place we call the edge.
Jillian Murphy, Leadership and Teamwork Lessons from the Edge. Jillian Murphy, co-author of the internationally acclaimed books Leading at the Edge and Into the Storm. Expert on leadership and teamwork. Dynamic keynote speaker. Advisor to senior leaders and teams. Passionate explorer.
I like to call things expeditions because it really changes the frame, and it changes the way we look at things, sometimes everyday events.
Using story and metaphor, the Leadership at the Edge and Teamwork at the Edge keynote presentations provide riveting examples of the tremendous difference strong leadership and teamwork can make under conditions of adversity, uncertainty, and change.
Your work is an expedition, and when you think about leadership and teamwork in that way, it's a useful set of lenses, and a set of lenses that we've found very helpful. So let's go exploring. In August of 1913, a ship called the Carluck left Victoria, British Columbia, to explore the Arctic, the frozen north. The next year, a ship named the Endurance left London for Buenos Aires to explore the frozen south. Now, the start of these two expeditions was in many ways the same. Both ships became beset in solid pack ice, and both crews faced the same shortages of food, supplies, and equipment. But the outcomes of these two expeditions were as far apart as the poles that they set out to explore.
The Leadership at the Edge presentation recounts the story of Ernest Shackleton's epic Antarctic expedition. Shackleton and his crew overcame unimaginable hardships to return without loss of life after 634 days in the frozen south. Jillian explores the parallels between the challenges faced by Shackleton and those faced by leaders and teams in today's business environment.
Conditions over the next 16 days are the most treacherous of the entire expedition. Huge waves known as Cape Horn rollers are crashing down on the tiny boat. On day 522, the men land on South Georgia Island. It's the same island they were standing on 522 days before. So that's the good news. I'm not sure if anyone can see the bad news. They're on the wrong side of the island, and it's covered in glaciers and in rocks.
The Syncretics Group study of leadership and teamwork is grounded in stories of adventure and survival and is brought to life with a compelling collection of images and videos from the dramatic expeditions. Continued research into stories from the Edge has led to the development of the Teamwork at the Edge presentation. It recounts the contemporary story of the AFR Midnight Rambler, winners of the treacherous 1998 Sydney to Hobart Race, the Everest of offshore racing. The crew and their 35-foot boat conquered 80-foot waves and 100-mile-an-hour winds to become the smallest boat in 10 years to win the iconic race.
At 9 a.m., Wilson's Promontory Lighthouse records winds of 91 miles per hour, gusting over 100 miles per hour. And just a couple hours later, the Midnight Rambler is entering the Bass Strait at 11 a.m. And Bob Thomas said the wind whispered that it was deadly. He had felt this way twice before in his life, and both times people had died.
The presentations drive home core principles employed by leaders and teams at the limits of physical survival and demonstrate how those principles can be applied in any challenging business environment.
Once again, the crew realizes that the logic behind their original decision has not changed. So yes, they hear the maydays, but they know that their safest course is still the same as it was before, and that's to continue towards Hobart and into the waves. So they continue with their original plan, fully committed, and they sail into the storm.
Leading at the Edge has been consistently well received with senior leaders throughout the world. Clients find the approach so compelling that years later, they still talk about their experience and recount the 10 strategies for success. Executives from organizations of all sizes and across all major industries have participated in the Leading at the Edge and Teamwork at the Edge programs. Jillian's unique approach, experience, and values give her a truly unique capability to help you succeed at the Edge.
On day 634, Shackleton succeeds on the 4th try, and as he's pulling ashore, he's counting all the hands, and sure enough, each and every one of the crew is alive and successfully rescued. Last journal entry reads, "All well at last, full speed ahead, Worsley." And that ends the saga of Ernest Shackleton and the Trans-Antarctic expedition. 634 days, almost 2 years later. So let's give these guys a round of applause.